So I kind of, and I didn't send this out to anybody, so this thing's dictating. Do that, but. Well, anyway. Share my screen here, and then I kind of just wrote this down for my notes, but I put all this in Google Drive. And then what I think I'm going to do is I know not everybody has access to our Google Drive for MAGIP, so I was probably just going to send the documents that I'm going to be showing here real quick. I'll just send it out to everybody that I invited to the email or invited to this meeting, and not to mention the recording here, and just so everybody's in tune with everything, in case some people want to still throw in and stuff. Either that or find some place on the website, on the MAGIP website to put it. I'm not sure about that yet, but let me share my screen here quick. So it works here. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. So this is just something I wrote up real quick, just for a quick little agenda item. But welcome everybody. I'm glad everybody's here. We tried to get as many people as we possibly could, a wide range of people to join this task force. We got people from the associate that have associate membership. We have MAGIP members here. Small counties also wanted some input from them as well. So the brief history of this is just one of the main reasons why we were considering the fee increase this year was we were considering having a communication associate, somebody that will help us with our social media, MAGIP's social media. It's getting more and more increasingly difficult for us to manage our social media, and with us just being, volunteers and everything, with all of our other work that we got going on and stuff, that we thought this would be a good idea. What was nice is that our full scope contract that we have, that company already has a contract or a communication associate, so we kind of tagged along with them, and she's kind of going to be doing that work for us. And of course, it cost us a little bit more, and that was the reason for the fee increase. Also, the rising cost of the conference itself, hotels are going up, everything's going up. And on top of that, it's been $30 for the fee for, since the 1990s. And that's, we all feel that it was kind of time to increase it a little bit. So as we were talking about the increase of the fees, we got into the discussion of the associate memberships, and how that would impact it. And as we continue on to this discussion, everybody that I've talked to anyway seems to be in favor of the fee increase. It's just that the associate membership, the ideas of the associate membership and what we could do to maybe promote it better and maybe have some more benefits to it, to be in it, kind of thing. That conversation kept on going to the point where we decided we would have this task force to keep this communication going and try to come up with some kind of plan for this. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Let's see. And we came up with a few ideas, but this is just something that basically kind of left it at the fact that this is where I want everybody else to start communicating their ideas back to us, or to this task force, to come up with some ideas here. I'm going to bring up this other document. And I just made this up quick. But this is what the fee structure is for the associate membership as of right now. As it is. And the fee membership started in 2012. and then I have what it would look like if it was $40, how it would go up. And this is just if we kept the fee, if we did the exact same thing, we just said, okay, we're raising our fees to $40. So the associate membership, the way it is now, would look like. Not saying that we have to have it that way. I mean, just if we didn't change anything, basically. So this is what it would look like. This is at 45 and this was at 50. We were thinking 50 was what we were kind of leaning towards initially. Now, for the few people that have the associate membership at the 21 to 25 scale, I mean, that's starting to get up there a little bit in price. But that's what it was going to look like if we didn't change anything. A few ideas came up to where maybe we just get rid of this whole scaling system and try something different, which is fine. We'd have to really come up with a whole plan for that. But there has been other issues like with the state library. Aaron could talk about this a little further, that I think they have rules about paying individual fees and stuff. But on that point, that's basically where I'm leaving it at. And just would like to start the open discussion, really. What anybody's got any ideas or thoughts, or I know it's kind of like you probably came into this meeting not knowing what to talk about, but.
Can I ask a dumb question?
There is no dumb questions.
What types of organizations are the majority of the associate memberships?
What type of the organizations? There are a couple of private ones, but for the most part, I think we have 7 right now. I have a list somewhere of them, and I don't have it with me, but most of them are, counties, cities, the state library. There are a few private firms. I think it's Pickett. Yeah, Pickett Associates.
And GCS.
And GCS too, yep. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of associate memberships. And we were thinking that might be a good idea to maybe try to promote that a little bit more with some incentives somehow or something like that. But yeah, that answers your question there, so.
The reason I'm asking is because coming from a small county government here, I'm the only one from the county that does any GIS at all. But I do know, because I also do grant work, that ARPA direct treasury payments that came into 2 tranches into all the counties and cities, they freed that up with a final rule that allowed for revenue replacement for general government services. You can use that money for anything. So I know some of these government associate memberships maybe aren't aware that they could apply for extra funding, I'm sure, through that program.
I guess the one question I have is what's the budget strategy? Because where does your funding? I can't believe that you can operate as an organization because I used to be a part of it, the executive team, on memberships alone, right? And so a bulk of your budget has to come from the conference, correct? I mean, is that
Yes, I believe,
okay.
Yes. I mean, promoting the conference and hoping for a lot of people to, yes, if I remember right. And I wish Nate was here. He can probably describe that a little bit better. But yes, I believe that's correct.
Okay. So so a couple things. The reason why the associate, to go back history wise, and Lee and Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the reason for the associate membership that was originally created was we had requested some sort of group membership so that agencies could pay for these types of organizations, and individual can't happen, right? So that's so people were paying out of their pocket before, but if there's an associate membership that includes, whatever benefits that the organization is offering and membership, then that is something that is allowable. And so I guess the one thing that kind of threw me off, just basic budget alone, was I don't understand. Well, I wasn't fully comprehending the increase for associate uh, costs. So it's $12. Was it 12.50?
Oh, you want for the fifth? I mean,
Yeah,
can you
it's
see,
12.
are you still looking at my screen?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
$12.50 more per member for the first 4, and then after that it's $10. And just with all the organizations I've been a part of,
That
I've
was, okay,
always
that was, yeah, go, well, I don't want to cut you off, but
okay.
that was Jason's idea, or not Jason, I'm sorry, that was Jeff Hedstrom's idea initially of doing
Okay.
something like that. And I don't know, and that was just one idea
Oh, okay.
of doing things. That's certainly something that I don't know if we all agreed on. We didn't, there was no agreements anywhere. It was just, that was I think you were referring to something like this here down here.
Yeah, it was in your last board meetings
Yeah, that
agenda.
was,
Yeah.
that was Jeff Hedstrom coming up with an idea there.
So it's like
And
getting the conversation started.
yeah, kind of thing. And that was not something that anybody, there was no agreement. I'm not saying that we're shooting that down, but I'm just
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying that nobody agreed to it either. I mean, it was just, like you said, getting the conversation started and stuff.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, when I talk about budget strategy, what I mean is, so you guys probably have an average that you're shooting for annually, right? You're probably, for membership, $250, and let's say it's 250, and so it's really, if you think about it, it's not bringing in that much revenue. And I totally agree with the increase in costs. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. With the increase in membership, it's one of those things where it's just like, yes, it's been a while. And $30 was very affordable for a very long period of time. But I guess my question is, wouldn't it be more beneficial to the organization to increase conference costs?
That was a thought.
Yeah.
Because your conference costs are super cheap.
Yeah, and again, that was, raise the fees, keep the cost of the registration for the conference. Or we could go the other way around, raise the conference fees or registration and keep the membership fees. I mean, yeah, all this is ideas for sure.
Right.
I guess I would.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what I would do is I would try to understand budgetarily what you're shooting for annually, your annual operating expenses, and then go from there to calculate the costs of membership and the costs of the conference. I know, and also there's not really a big difference between non-members and members. Man, I jack that up. Just looking at it now, I don't think it's unreasonable to have $500 conference fees, or and I know there's a lot of money that's made on workshops as well, but I would start with, what do you need to have your communications representative, and then what do you expect, like, budgetarily, to bring in for membership alone, because that's never going to be your moneymaker, right? Like, it's just not a lot of funding, or it's just not a lot coming in. I mean, even if you had, I guess, let's say you had 500, it'd only be 25,000 annually. That's not a ton of money. And so that's what I would suggest, is looking at a greater
I know
budget.
we've looked into this a little bit already, and unfortunately, this is more Nate's idea here, or more Nate's realm.
Yeah, Nate threw together a good kind of a little a short presentation at one of our board meetings. I'm trying to find it. I don't know if he has it in Google Drive or not, but it kind of gave a nice overview of expected income and expenses and stuff. But I know that was definitely talked about, Aaron, is increasing certain aspects of the conference, especially like workshops. I mean, they haven't really increased at all for quite a long time, and we the conferences are our main revenue, so increasing those by a little bit, or 10 or 20, $25 or something, I think we could justify that.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even like it. I mean, this is just a suggestion, but I wouldn't even go so far as to incrementally increase. Like, I would do it based on the cost of the hotel and what you have to pay. When I used to manage the spring meetings, I would basically take the cost of what the entire conference would be, and then I set the fees based on that.
You mean for the registration for the conference itself?
Every single cost that has to do with the conference, I would figure that out prior to the conference, like prior to whenever you have to set those fees, and then add your standard whatever rate that you need per person, so that you're covering you're covering all meals, all the rooms, whatever, your full scope fees and whatever other fees that you have, and supplies, materials. Set the conference rate on that, plus whatever percentage you need to bring in as an organization. That's how I would do it. That's how we used to do it in the past, because then you've got 50 people registered, you have 50 meals, exactly you're getting a 1-for-1 there, in addition to whatever amount of money you need to make on that conference. I know we're kind of going off of the main discussion about the associate membership, but I think it would make sense, and I would like to see some sort of quantity discount versus an increase for associate memberships. I don't think it has to be high at all, but that would make sense to me. There has to be something where I can prove there's a good reason for us to purchase this, besides being the membership, like whether, I can't remember the list of benefits. Clearly a cost benefit's always great, but I can't remember what else there was.
On our MAGIP page is not enough for you?
It is.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been that discussion over the last year or so, is trying to determine like what's the incentive for having an associate membership besides, really that special directory listing. And I don't know, like Eric and I both, we just pay, our normal $30 dues. We are not associated, with an associate membership. But that was always, our conversation as well, is, there's two of us, and that's $60 that, we would be paying $150 for an associate member. We'd be paying a lot more to become an associate member. And so, that's just something as well that we should probably consider, is, how many of these organizations are going to want to pay a little extra for their membership when there really isn't any additional incentive.
And maybe if we redefine associate members, because in the past it was just a group of people, perhaps, that's something to consider. It's like, well, maybe they get other benefits. I don't even know. I'm just kind of spitballing right now.
Yeah. I think that's what Jeff was trying to come up with as well. Like maybe there's some sort of, maybe there's I guess a conference, $10, incentive. If they register for the conference, the associate members get $10 off, or something like that. But I think that's part of this conversation, is just trying to figure out if there's any way we can set any sort of need to review if this is even, if we should continue this or try to figure out ways to make folks, encourage folks to sign up for this if they're able.
Exactly, or just come up with a brand new, like you said, get rid of the whole associate, rethink the whole idea and just come up with a whole brand new approach to it too. I mean, I'm old school. If it's not broke, don't fix, don't try to fix it kind of thing. But, obviously I don't see an issue if we come up with some better ideas, for something like this, that we can't implement it. I don't, if we all agree upon it kind of thing. So that's kind of where we're at with this. So, I sent an email to Nate to see if he can jump in here to maybe answer some of the questions about the budget kind of thing. Cause I know we've kind of gone over this. I know Nate's gone over it pretty well. And he would be able to answer some of those questions for you about that. I'm sure we've looked at it that way. But yeah, I don't really have any other ideas I don't know where else to go with this. If anybody else has got any ideas, Jeff, you got anything?
I don't have any ideas. I'm just looking at my travel budget right now to see what, like a change in, like I'm planning at least 3 team members to attend the Bozeman conference. And so if we were to change the conference cost from like $245 to $300, $400, $500, what that's going to do to my budget. It doesn't seem like that's that much of an impact. Maybe about 700, 800 additional dollars to send 3 people. So I guess that if you're increasing conference costs, it doesn't seem like that it's that much of an impact. I do see the benefit of increasing the membership fee because it means that everybody that's a member, is paying for that additional resource that we're going to have with the new communications person. So I see both sides of it a little bit, I guess.
That's a good point. Any thoughts, Lee?
Just kind of following along and processing here.
And that's kind of what I kind of thought about that too. I mean, as I was thinking about this meeting that I threw at everybody, there wasn't really, an idea of why we're here. So now we kind of know why we're here kind of thing. So now everybody's trying to think about things.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, majority of the associate membership and all of the costs and all of that stuff, I pretty much created when we did this originally. So, and so a little background there, we were just trying again to find that way to make it easier for entities to pay as a group without you feeling like you could justify a little bit of the extra cost if I guess I totally agree with Jason, like the 2 people where it should be 60, where it would be 60 versus it's 150. It was a shot in the dark. It was, get something out there and try, right?
Sure.
I've never, as someone who purchases and retains an associate membership, that I've never really seen a benefit from it other than it makes it a lot easier for me to pay. It's a pain for me to pay for 5 different individual memberships. I want to support my staff. I want to pay for those for them. But if I had to do it separately, that's a pain. And I get questioned on it from finance. But when I can show that I'm paying just one single thing in a group, it flies right through and it's no big deal. But yet I still have like 2 more people that I would potentially add, but I don't necessarily want to double my cost, right? To $300 when I just need to add another $60 worth. So it's this weird balance. So I don't know if I don't know what the solution is there. because I don't see enough of a benefit from it to double my cost just for 2 more people, right?
Right.
Um,
I'm sure we could come up with a sliding scale
yeah,
that there was a cost benefit and you saw a quantity discount, right? But like you said, Lee, not only, you know, we want to see benefits for being an associate membership as well. So like, and
yeah,
that MAGIP, like we are dedicated to the organization of MAGIP. We have an associate membership. So maybe that's something we could do as a task force, is say we'll come up with a model that, as maybe try to get some more associate members in a call or just get their input, discover like what would be best, like what it would be, the icing on the cake for everyone, besides the ease of purchase, the ability to purchase, because that's like a state law or policy, and then also like some sort of quantity discount in addition to other benefits if the cost is a little higher and it just, we need it to be a little higher. you know Maybe there's some sort of associate member annual meeting or something like that with MAGIP, where those folks have the ear of the board or something like that. And I'm like, again, I'm just spitballing, but maybe we can come up with like, here's what we think could be beneficial. And I get it. I get the perspective of both sides. Lee and I and Jason were all on the, the executive team a while back. We understand the costs and, the need to run the nonprofit.
yeah.
And then also we can, come at it from the other side of wanting to be able to wanted to have benefits of an associate membership. So maybe we could come up with that, and perhaps in the meantime, if you need to make a decision, leave it as is until we come up with a better model.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what we do with the budget. Since we were continually having this discussion, we decided to just approve the budget without raising anything,
Mhm.
for the time being. So yeah, we kind of went that route. I do have, I was talking to Pickett, Helen Paris, and, she's not available today because of, I don't know, she's on flight or something. But she mentioned Curtis is also works for them too, DeVault. And, Curtis did come up with, I just want to read what he wrote down. He had some ideas here, and I'm just gonna read straight from the email here. So one thought I had is to increase the associate membership prices while providing more benefits, then provide associate members a standing conference sponsor with free or discounted conference registrations. The pricing scheme would consider the new membership price, conference sponsor level, and number of members, conference rate / discount. In summary, is that I think associate memberships should have a larger part in the conference, as you have suggested. However, I also feel that the membership price should be higher than the general membership, since it opens extra benefits. So at the current membership rate of $30 a year for general members, it would be the associate members are $100 a year. They would be paid for each membership instead of the top end of the predefined number as they are now. I'm a little confused on that last sentence there, but, I mean, he throws a couple good ideas out there about having being part of a sponsorship kind of thing, or I'm not sure if we do that already or not. But I just wanted to just throw that out there, and hopefully he may be part of these meetings later on too.
I think you need to really evaluate that and be careful with that piece, because what you'll end up with is, instead of like a municipal group, like myself, you'll end up with the folks like Esri and GCS and these and the vendors who are looking for ways, potentially looking for ways to make their conference sponsorship less expensive.
I see.
And so you might actually lose revenue doing that. So I think it could work if that's the audience that you're going for. You would lose me as an associate member because I don't need that benefit. And so I'm not going to pay $100 per person to get a sponsorship at the vendor booth at the conference, because that's not anything that a municipal or county government needs, right? So
Yeah, I
while
would
I
be
think it's an interesting idea, it's soliciting a different group of people for your
right.
membership.
It's soliciting private business.
Yeah.
And I would also be careful, because you could end up punishing, not punishing, that's a horrible word. Asking government to pay a pretty high rate. And it looks like, if a government entity wants to be an associate member, typically, that's like Lee had said, not everyone gets a booth like the state library does, but you wouldn't want to show it as, not giving a break, just for the sake of, being an exhibitor at that conference. Maybe that's another discussion to have, is should there be a separate private versus government rates?
Good point.
I mean,
Yeah. That could be an interesting way to break it out, is to have a government rate versus an associate membership, which is tied to conference and benefits that way.
Mhm.
In the government rate, I don't need a discount on the individual memberships. I just need to be able to group them.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the, I would expect to be able to pay the same cost, and not more, as a standard membership, but be able to group it.
Sure.
But that's the government perspective, for sure.
Right.
Aaron, did you check to see if that was a rule for the state library, that you have to pay the group, you can't pay individual?
That is a state policy.
State policy, yeah, okay.
Yep. So, it might, well, yeah, I think even Brian Anderson brought it up in the, oh shoot, what do we call that when everybody gets together at the conference? What's the session called?
Roundtable.
Yeah, it was like the round table, or it was like I can't remember.
No, it's the summit,
The
Montana
summit. Thank you. I'm like,
summit.
God,
My
we
God,
had it
I've
for
led
you.
it how many years? And what's
I know.
the-
I'm like, yeah. What's the thing called? He said, I don't even know how you pay for this. It's against state policy. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I had talked to our director, Jenny, and I said, why would he say that? We've been doing this for years. She said, well, it's because of the associate. And then I thought, oh my God, I totally forgot. And it's because we pay for this associate membership so that the Montana State Library is the member of the organization. And the benefit of that is that we get to register 25 individuals. I'd be happy to come up with some cost comparisons or some cost models if that's the way we want to go. I love a good spreadsheet.
So could there be
Oh,
could there
go
be
ahead,
any
Rob.
reduction
Or
in
Kevin.
like the cost for different classes, or different, like, all the like breakout, when everybody kind of picks their classes they want to take or whatever, and the costs associated with those, could there be a reduction for associate members for those, like as an incentive?
Jason, I don't think we can change those costs because those come from the teachers of the workshops. Is that right?
Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, exactly. I think we could probably work something out with that, but I mean, that's another idea for sure.
But you want to be careful that you're not putting in yourself in a position that you're losing revenue. You know,
Right.
like I said, I don't need the incentive of a lower membership cost. But so if you give me a lower, wait a minute, what am I trying to say here?
You just want it
If
for
you
free.
give me the if you give me the same membership cost as everybody else, but yet give me a discount just because I have you're losing money, right? So that only makes sense if you're charging me more than other people and then giving me a discount.
So it balances out.
Yeah.
I would almost say that I don't. I mean, there are instances where, like, I'm in a member. We just bought a sponsorship for League of Cities and Towns. They've just updated their model, and so they're like, become a sponsor. And I was like looking at it, I was like, oh my god, it's so expensive, and I wasn't ready to pay that. But it's all lined out of what you get. There's diamond, gold, silver, bronze, partner, and that's your partnership details, right? But that starts to end up looking kind of like the prospectus for the conference. And and that's really, I was
go
to say
ahead.
that, that's really like a benefit I'm exhibiting. And a lot of state agencies do this, but I'm like, also like, I have a small budget compared to like Great West Engineering or RDO, like these big companies, big Montana companies come in, and I can be a partner, I can sponsor a booth, but I can't do like, they get a lot of recognition, and that's a big deal for them. They can write off their marketing, they get the logo on stuff, they put their name gets on a key card. I don't care about that. When I'm looking for these types of things, it's, if it's like, okay, I get a free registration, okay, that's great. I get a complimentary exhibit space, but that's for me for that specific event, right? And so that's why I make the decision to possibly sponsor. And there are times where we can't go and we'll still sponsor an event because we want to show support. But I would say MAGIP is different because it's our profession. And so I don't need to have, like, if I sponsor a conference, it's almost like you should keep that separate, keep the cost separate from the day-to-day annual membership versus what the benefits of that specific conference. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how you can keep a flat rate of a conference registration and workshop registration with ever flexing costs. To me, like, you would probably be draining your budget, right? So if you always want to keep it at $40 for, or $50 for a workshop, I mean, if anything, I guess they're not ever changing up and down, they're ever changing upward. And so you wouldn't want to drain your budget there. I would keep the cost flexible for the specific location. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to, like, to afford to take the conference to Whitefish or something like that. Not like it's like we should, but if you wanted to change venues, you're going to have places that are more affordable, like a Helena versus, a Bozeman. And so I would almost keep the benefits separate. And so if we could come up with some other benefit for associate members, that's, I think that could be something that could work.
Yeah, and when you say we, you're referring to yourself as the state library, as government?
Yeah.
Because I certainly like the idea of separating it out to, government has a different aspect of what they want or benefits that we can provide them versus the private. I think that's a great idea. Not that we have to go that route or not, but I personally think that's a good idea, maybe trying to separate that out and stuff. I'm not one to make things too complicated though, but if we need to really start diving into this a little bit and separating things out, trying to get like a gold, diamond, silver, all that stuff for the private people versus, something for the government people. If
Perhaps
the
you
way-
could
Yeah,
you
go
could
ahead.
even consider it as an associate membership and then a sponsorship of the association. So sponsorships could be for private entities and associate memberships could be for government and nonprofit.
I like that idea.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Especially if they're the ones that need the discount on the conference rate. And there are times where and then maybe we try to gauge what private industry wants for out of MAGIP or what they need out of MAGIP.
Because I think they're definitely looking for different benefits, and they're gonna,
Right.
it's a different takeaway for government versus a company coming in or an engineering firm or, you know,
Right.
whoever. They're all looking for different things than government is at MAGIP.
Yeah, definitely.
And honestly, you know, if you change that model and you had a budgetary target of trying to get, I don't know, the first year, 5 sponsors, that could start to bring in revenue. Like sponsors can bring in revenue. Those are the people that can bring in revenue for you guys, like big time. Like, have you guys, if you ever asked for anybody to sponsor a card key so that when everyone checks in, they get the LiDAR card? I mean, I get those at conferences, like the big national ones. I mean, that's something you guys could do, right? Like, put a price tag on everything and let people sponsor the heck out of it.
Kind of been told that we're not supposed to be making money though. I mean, that's not our.
That's
not-
not, I wouldn't say that's the case. I would say that you are a nonprofit, right? But I don't think you're ever going to make enough money where you get to that tax status of like, we've made too much, and
Right.
you want it to line with your budget and what you're trying
Right.
to accomplish. And
Right.
if the point is to accomplish to leave to make students free and everybody gets charged $20, I mean that's something great, right? Like to put the benefit back on the members.
Right.
And as you want to grow the organization and move into things like having a communication person and having more paid assistance, administration of the organization, which with MAGIP and all of my experience with it, MAGIP is never going to achieve the next set of goals and what we really want to do without having some paid staff to do the work. Because I've done it for too many years to
Right. No,
and I know that
exactly.
the volunteerism is never going to get the organization to that next level. And so, yes, you do need to make money. You do need to make some level of money to support what the organization, the goals and the intent of the organization. So,
Right.
And to support your
we're cutting
years,
ourselves off there,
yeah,
Right.
and to support your years where you have a pandemic,
right?
to cover
Yeah.
your operational costs. Hell, Mike even send you to a national conference. You know, there's things that, you know, that you guys have a lot of flexibility and potential power in the association of what you could do to improve GIS for the state of Montana. A lot more flexibility than we have in government. I mean, I was working with Mako's new attorney, Karen. Danny, I know you've gone to some trainings.
Yeah, she's
How-
awesome.
I don't know, how often do we have discussions with attorneys about putting something on a map and it all kind of comes back to bite us? Maybe not often enough, but like having having a hired consultant to do a training that specializes in GIS, and yeah, that might be hard to find, but I know they're out there.
Mhm.
You know, having kind of like bringing more of those folks on staff to help with that sort of thing. Having a training coordinator for the organization, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
An executive director. I know. I'm beating the
Well, I
dead
think that's-
horse.
So are there any like tax incentives or write-offs for, you know, private companies to do sponsorships because MAGIP is a nonprofit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys issue like receipts for them to give to their accountants to, you know, include in their taxes?
I think that's all just part of when they sign up for something.
But yeah,
Those organizations, Danny, they put aside large amounts of money for those types of things.
Mhm.
And it's like considered marketing. It's part of their
Mhm.
marketing budgets. And I realized what working with NISJIC and representing them, Montana, and in that organization, I realized what we could do with more sponsors. And so I'm always on the phone inviting sponsors from out of state to come into our conference because number one, we have a cool draw. We're Montana. So a lot of people want to come here. But then these companies are huge companies, like LiDAR companies. Oh my God.
Mhm.
They're rolling in dough. So like some of these companies, we can we can bring them in and they can support the organization. And then also bring their technology and their expertise.
yeah, but wouldn't that be so if they do so say we have our conference and we try to promote sponsorship and we have the sponsorship membership versus our associate membership and they do something for the sponsor membership so they get all the benefits of it and everything that we've set up there. I mean, there's nothing to say that they won't, they just spend the money just to get the benefits for the conference. And then when the conference is done, they'll immediately get out of it or cancel it. Right? Or am I not seeing that right? Or is that something that we could maybe change or ensure that they maintain that membership kind of thing or?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be a membership, it would be a sponsorship.
Well, right.
And once they've purchased that sponsorship, then that would make them a part of the organization. It's just a different way of thinking about different sectors.
Sure. So it wouldn't be just like a one-time thing, conference-wise or whatever.
No, I would say like a year, this year's, sponsorship.
Yeah. Yeah. An annual sponsorship.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And you could do it such as that they're sponsoring the organization. There is a conference benefit. Some folks might take advantage of it, some folks might not. But then there's also the ability, if someone does not want to sponsor the organization, they can still have that exhibitor space and do all that same stuff for the conference itself. So you have a sponsor of the association of MAGIP versus a sponsor of the conference.
Yeah, like a one-time thing.
Yep, it's like different ways to sponsor or it to be involved.
Sure.
I think going back to the membership, at least the individual membership increase, I support a fee increase. And everything's going up and we just came out with our county budget, right, for the year. And I anticipated an increase in everything. And because we had the ability to pad our budget a little bit versus the last couple of years because of the ARPA money and COVID money and stuff, I feel like that's probably pretty broad across the board. Everybody knows there's a little bit of extra money for things. We're catching up. Like we weren't able to do continuing education, in-person meetings, all these other things the last 2 years. So we know we need to get that stuff. It's important. It's a priority. There's money for that. I support an increase in the conference cost. It's something we built into our budget. So that's where I'm at from a small individual county perspective.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I talked to, I can't think of her name right now, but she's out in Sydney. Who's out there? Like Glendive, north of Glendive?
Nancy?
Yes, Nancy, that's it. Thank you. I talked to her too. She mentioned that she basically said the same thing that she's in favor of, the membership fee increase. She didn't really get into the whole associate membership type of thing and everything. But, so yeah, I don't know. Anybody else got anything? Rob, you showed up a little late. Did you have any ideas?
Yeah, hi. I kind of like where you guys are going. I having joined late, I didn't really get the full sense of it, but yeah, I'm supportive of the increase in membership fees, and I like what Lee is saying about, we don't want to put ourselves in a position of losing money. And yeah, I don't know. I was a little distracted here a minute ago when you were talking about splitting things between government and private. But yeah, I'd say carry on.
Thanks.
I just am going back to why we're an associate membership, and just coming in new to the state, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Just wanted the folks on my team to have the ability to have no excuse, essentially, as part of our job description, to attend and participate in professional group meetings. So you're automatically there, you don't have to worry about cost savings or anything like that. We're purchasing this at a group level, so you automatically get that because you're a member of the team, right? And then we have some power GIS users outside of the GIS team, and the crime analyst and Bobby with the police department, and another gentleman within the engineering department. And so trying to encourage them to attend and be a part of the association, because it will strengthen their skills and get them involved and be able to network with the GIS community. So that associate membership provides me a tool of encouraging other people that may not attend something like that, saying, hey, we already got these 2 or 3 extra memberships. Why don't you just become a member, get on the listserv, maybe attend a conference, and that's going to open you up to a world of new opportunities, because the conference provides it's just so much additional information and networking opportunities that help them expand their horizons on what they can do with GIS. So I really like that. I support the change in the increase of fees, because I think that communication person is going to help towards the mission of the organization of just expanding the additional amount of content that's out there to help us understand where our field is going, and the opportunities out there and what others are doing across the state. So I don't know if I'm providing any additional help or additional insight here, but I really like the associated membership. It was very attractive to me when I first got here. So
Jeff. I mean, what about the idea of, if we raise the fees to $50, but leave the associate membership alone? Have it the way it is now, so it'd be at the standard $30 mark. So, granted, I'm just rambling off without trying to do figures in my head and stuff. That certainly would be incentive to people to join the associate membership. If we're promoting it that way, get a couple more governments involved, or cities and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just rambling here,
But I don't understand why we want to. I think I just in the time where I was listening, I heard both Lee and others say that they don't need the discount. So why would we, take that money off the table?
No, I agree. I'm just, like I said, I was just throwing ideas out there. That's certainly a good point.
I don't need the discount, but what would be nice would be a more flexible grouping. Like right now I'm maxed it. I have 5 people, myself and 4 staff, but I do have a handful of folks that are elsewhere in the city that I would buy memberships for, but not enough to justify another $150, unless, yes, and especially if if that price increases to $50 membership, so that price goes from 300 to 500, I wouldn't be able to justify that. But if I were able to buy, a associate government membership for however many I specify, I don't need a discount. I just need a way to group it and be able to expand by smaller numbers rather than buying a whole 5 more memberships when I don't need 5 more memberships, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, for sure.
But I also don't know how well the software supports that, because when I set all of this up in the Wild Apricot software, it supports the associate memberships. You can specify how many memberships go with these groups, and that was part of why we structured it this way, was because that was how the software is structured. So without some more administrative work behind the scenes, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've been in that software to see if the software can be flexible that way or not.
Well, I don't want to, I personally don't want to be limited by the software. I mean, on any choices that we would make or anything like that. I mean, if we make a choice and our software doesn't support it, then I feel like we should come up with some different software and kind of thing. I think it's more important that we come up with some kind of good solution, more flexible groupings, like you're saying, maybe separating it out from government to private, something like that. And then we can deal with the software thing later, kind of thing. That's what I would think. But I understand what you're saying, that you were going with Wild Apricot at the time there too, so.
Well, that's a much bigger conversation if you're looking at changing your membership software. I wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily recommend looking at changing the membership software just for this one function.
No, I don't,
yeah.
no. We may have to get an additional software or something I think that's down the road. I don't want to deal with that yet. Let's deal with this first.
Yeah.
Hey, Lee, what would you think about a situation where we have a little bit of a human touch? Okay, so we have these categories. You have 6 people in your organization. You've got the first tier of the associate membership. And we say, and you've been doing this for a couple of years, and we say, okay, you know what? We'll give you a 6th one for free. Or so,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's an everyday occurrence for every associate membership where they're right on the edge of needing to purchase the next level up. And if they're a stable sort of associate member, maybe we can bend it a little bit on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Is it administrative burden to have a small grouping?
So the way, and I'm in the admin side of the software right now, and I've got another
Okay.
meeting I'm going to have to go to here in just a second, but I want to finish this piece of the conversation. I'm in the admin side of the software right now, and you can get into individual. So when you're doing a membership level, there's individual and there's bundle. And the bundle, you have the option to limit to X number of members, or you have unlimited. So if with the personal touch, you would have to set that bundle to unlimited, and then you would have to have that administrator track how many that associate member had set their number to and purchased, and monitor that if they added somebody else, then there would have to be a charge for that. So it would take active administration to change the structure that we have now in terms of the groupings, the size, bundle numbers. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. But even like getting that 6th one for free, you would have to come in and do an administrative tweak to this to be able to accommodate that, or it wouldn't show up in my associate membership.
Okay.
It would show up as like a free individual membership, which I don't, again, another administrative thing that you'd have to track.
Who would be doing that in this case?
Well, that's
Full scope.
It'd be full scope, right?
Right. So then you're eventually reducing your income because you're paying someone
Because you're paying
$100 an
someone to do
hour
that,
to
right.
do that. Yeah.
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 I like the conversation. I have to jump too.
Yeah, I got no problem, if anybody else has got some final thoughts. I mean, I think this is a good start. I mean, like we said at the beginning with, this is kind of, we were just jumping in, not knowing exactly where we were going with this, but now we kind of got an idea of what we're looking at. I think we obviously are gonna need another meeting. I would hope that all of us and maybe a few others can jump in as well. To do this. Yeah, go ahead.
Is MAGIP a member of the Montana Nonprofit Association? Do they have models? Do they have membership models that you could look into?
I don't know that answer.
Okay.
Yeah, we can, I mean, we could, this is a great conversation, and we can definitely share this at the retreat next week too, and
Absolutely.
some of us can do some additional research and yeah, I like the idea. I mean, lots of great ideas that would, I mean, I'll even share with Eric and stuff as well, just to entice other folks in other departments to become members. And maybe that's something, instead of us paying $30 each, we pay for, some sort of an associate membership, and with Jeff's idea to entice others to become involved in it, as well. And so, yeah, I think a lot of this we can definitely provide an overview next week and share with the board and see if we can get any additional input from them.
I agree. And then then we can set up some next meeting, maybe next month or something. I'll send out something next week. I'm thinking probably or the week after that. We'll probably just try to set something up in October that we can continue this conversation. Maybe come up with some solutions or something.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that, I think we're at 25 right now, and I could probably ask for more. So it is our thought of us as an organization that we want to support our partnership with MAGIP and our role in having this associate membership. And I could see us having all of our staff be members, and then we also have governing bodies and advisory bodies, so our council and our commission. And so that gets to be quite a few people. I know we're unique, but that's something we should maybe consider when we're talking about benefits and what associate members could get from MAGIP. Something to consider is that maybe we try to get more associate members, and that there's more out there to get if we change the model a little.
All right, I'm late to another meeting, so I've got to bounce out, but this was a great conversation and I hope to continue to engage in it. So I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I got to jump too. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Aaron.
guys.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. Yeah, for the rest of us, I think we're good, unless you guys got some final thoughts, but I'd hope that you guys would like to continue this conversation in the next meeting. I think it was a very, very good meeting to start with. Got some good ideas roaming out there. I mean, like I said, I think everybody's in agreement of a fee increase, but just trying to come up with some kind of ideas for the associate membership, I think is what we really need to do to make things work out right. Whether that has to do with conference or registration fees or whatever. So,
Yeah.
all right, oh, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we should just try to set aside plenty of time at the retreat here next week and just kind of have a really nice discussion with everyone. And I really like Rob's idea about the flexible grouping option, and maybe, you know, like you suggested, Rob, I mean, we have so many vested associate members, like, or memberships, I should say. So it's an annual update. I can't imagine it would take that much time to manage it. And maybe that's something that Full Scope would just do for us. Maybe there wouldn't be a major fee involved with it. So
I don't think there should be a fee involved because of the fact that they are supposed to be amended. I mean, I think that's part of their job is to
Yeah.
administer that stuff, so.
yeah, but I like that idea as well as so yeah, there's a lot to discuss, but
Yeah,
good
I mean,
ideas for sure.
You could even simplify it then, right? Like associate membership starts at like three members plus, and then you buy an additional membership for each additional person for, $45.
My area up there is very clean right now.
Well, see, now that's starting to fall into the idea of
Okay, you
what,
guys,
oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, we can talk about this later, but this is starting to fall into the idea of what Jeff was having, where you would have, you spend for 4 people, and then every additional person was an additional cost, but he was saying that that fee for the additional person would be $10 more than what the membership would be at. And then to offset that, they would have a conference registration would be that much less kind of thing. So I don't know. But I mean, I don't mind the idea of having, you say, okay, you're gonna pay for 4 people, and then from that point on,
Yeah.
you pay for an additional person. That would seem flexible, but asking for, people to pay more for that additional person, I don't know if we
Yeah.
can go
I
that
don't,
route.
that seems kind of odd to me.
Yeah,
Like, and then also mixing it, it's like you're paying more, but then you get a discount. It just seems too complicated and unnecessarily complicated.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, these are all, I'll readjust agenda for this next week here and probably squeeze out a little bit more time to talk about this, because obviously this is a big topic, so.
But that's where that flexibility would come into play, because like Lee said, if she wants to add a couple more members, she doesn't want to pay $500 to add them. Like it's
Right,
yeah, I mean that's where I think we can come up with something. And
agree.
yeah,
Yeah, and it still gets billed as that associate membership, so you're not buying individual people's membership, right?
yes,
So
Right.
the vehicle is the same, it's just a pick list instead of a category.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good. And I do like the idea of maybe trying to separate out the private with the private firms with the government agencies, because government people are looking for different benefits than the private sector is. And I think that's, if we can maybe come up with different benefits for the private people versus the government people just want, it's like, look, I want to pay in a group kind of thing, and maybe some other benefits. But the sponsor people, they're more interested in getting their name out there. They want to be recognized, kind of thing. So I do like that idea of maybe separating it out, but I don't know. It's just further conversation, obviously. So.
Well, maybe let's make this a goal of the meeting next week, is to come out of there with this sort of resolved.
I don't think we're gonna come up with a result. I would love to have it resolved. I was hoping to get it resolved in July, but that wasn't gonna fly. It didn't turn out that was gonna happen. So, I agree that I would love to get this resolved right away. I don't know if we can, I don't think that's gonna happen though with just us and MAGIP. I mean, we need to have the other people involved too, I think.
Who are the other people?
Well, Aaron, Lee, Dana, and then there was a few other people that I invited to this meeting that weren't able to show up, so.
well,
Right.
but I think we can get a really good start and propose it to
Yes,
absolutely these
Yes.
few folks that were on, and
Yes.
Absolutely. I completely agree, Rob. I mean, it would be great
Yep.
to just get things dialed in, and then we
Yep.
propose it, and maybe Aaron or, Lee would
Right.
come back with a suggestion,
Yep.
or say that sounds great. That's exactly what we were
Yep.
kind of looking for. So I think we
Yeah, no,
should
I agree with
definitely
that.
try to, because Jeff, I know Jeff has, he's very opinionated regarding this, and we've got some other, having Nate there. So, I mean, I think it could be a really good discussion. I think we could come up with something that we could propose, and, another reason to have a retreat like that is get together
that's it.
and work hard.
That-
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
that's really
absolutely.
well said, Jason.
Yep.
I agree on all fronts there. I think, yeah, if we can come up with a proposal and an alternative or something like that, and because we've been batting this around for a long time, and at some point we just have to move on with this issue.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yes, absolutely.
Mike,
Cool.
I got,
Rob, are you going to be there next week?
Yeah.
What's that, Jeff?
I was gonna say, Mike, I've got some openings on Monday and Tuesday. I didn't know if you would want to sit down with Nate, and we could get some slides together on the number of associate members, kind of the budgetary information, so that the strategic planning group can digest that information, just have all that stuff in maybe some PowerPoint slides or something like that that you all could use. Would you be interested in that, or?
Yeah, we could set something up with Nate.
Yeah.
I definitely wish Nate was here for this meeting, but yeah, hopefully we'll get him roped in, and obviously he'll be at the retreat as well. So he'll be good source to talk to about the budget and all that stuff. Yeah, no, we can set something up with Nate next week, probably.
Yeah, I got Monday and Tuesday are wide open, other than the Marl stuff that Jeff sent us this morning, so.
Okay, oh, that's right, we got that too, yeah. Okay, no, that sounds good. I can send something out to Nate, and, we can just get some slides together, or have Nate, I mean, like Jason said, Nate did already set something up. Maybe we can just reuse that too, so.
Yep.
So, or just have Nate give another, just a quick briefing on the budget and what we were talking about originally with the fee increases and stuff, so.
Yeah.
And he could, yeah, so. All right, that all sounds good, guys. You guys got anything else?
No, just looking forward to seeing everyone next week. And Jeff, you're not able to make it, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that, so.
That's all right. We'll fill you in for sure. But,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I plan on being in Bozeman, so I hope to catch up on everything that takes place next week with Mike or when we meet in Bozeman. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Mike, for getting us to meet here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad everybody showed up, and who showed up, and again, great conversation. And I think you're right, Rob. We need to come up with some kind of, at least some proposal, at least next week, and we can start moving forward.
Yeah, cool.
So, all right, thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.